here because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to our first comic review podcast thing that we're starting here. We're going to be talking about the recently relaunched Ninja Turtles comic. So issue 1 of the new Ninja Turtles comic. So for those who don't know, the IDW Ninja Turtles comics went all the way up into issue 150. They started back in 2011. And then recently they said, we're relaunching the comics with a whole new issue number 1, a whole new writer. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today, is that relaunch, issue number 1. This is a good jumping on point for new readers. And we thought it'd be a good idea to jump on and just discuss it.
Yeah.
You got a chance to finish the previous run. What did you think the way it ended and going into this new one?
It was a lot. 150 issues. It was a lot. But I liked it. I like how it ended.
Yeah, it set up a lot of things for this, from what we saw in this first issue. It definitely flows into each other. So let's go ahead and talk about who was involved in issue number 1. So we can see it was written by Jason Aaron. He's the new writer for the series. So he'll be doing this whole new run. And then with this first issue has art by Joëlle Jones. And this first issue came out July 24th, 2024. So just a few days ago as of the time of this recording. We're going to go ahead, dive on into it. And this thing starts us off, book 1, in San Quentin, a prison, which is on the West Coast.
Yeah, so he's far away from New York.
Yeah. He is no longer in New York. And we don't know why he's been imprisoned. We do know, though, that the other inmates in there are very suspicious of him. They want to kill him. So I think as of right now in the Turtles comics, the ones that led into this, there's no other mutants anywhere else but New York, right?
Right.
At least for the most part. And so here on the West Coast, they're like, what is this? Yeah, what is this thing? And so it's locked up in there with them. And I think you kind of get a little hint from his dialogue that he's been in there for a few months.
Yeah.
So this is a few months since the last comic ended.
So this issue is called Return to New York Part 1.
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Inmate.
Yes. And for those who know, you know that Return to New York is a title for an arc that has been used in previous books. And now it's being used here in this relaunch, and cool little callback to that.
So like you said, he starts off in San Quentin State Prison.
Yeah. And we next jump over to where it's lights out time. So you kind of get a whole setup of how it is in the prison and kind of how he's being looked at. He's kind of a loner in here. Like, nobody wants to hang out with him, but people are too scared to come up and like start crap with him because they just don't know what to make of him.
Yeah.
And so later that night, it's lights out and Raph's laying in his bed and he hears criminals escaping into the sewers underneath the prison. Rafael goes after them and he starts beating the crap out of them brutally. You see teeth flying, and it's brutal.
He's also reminiscing a lot, I feel, in this.
Right after
this issue, he reminisces about how when he's down there in the sewers beating those guys up, he's thinking about his brothers, how it used to be.
And you get a nice little, you get some images here of when he was together with his brothers, and although at the end of it, he's like, it's better, best forgotten or something like that. So he's kind of like...
bittersweet, I feel.
Yeah, like at the beginning, he's kind of reminiscing, and then he's like, well, screw that. I don't need that anymore.
He also likes it. I feel like he also likes that loneliness. Like when he's eating at the mess hall or whatever, he's kind of like, I'm fine with just sitting here, nobody bothering me.
Yeah.
I like it.
He's always been like that.
Because he's kind of like that lone wolf kind of thing.
Yep. Absolutely. So after he beats them up, what did you think of the brutality there? You think they did a good job?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I like how you could see like I guess you would say the shiv is like it's broken on his shell.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he's just like beating them up, and like one of the tooth of the inmates gets stuck on his knuckle or something, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like they're showing how you're in prison, it's kind of violent, but I like how they're showing that.
He takes them back, I believe, to their cells, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, he drags them back.
Yeah, he drags them back to prison. And then we see alarms start going off. And it's pretty much, all the security or the guards are now coming in.
Yeah.
And this is where we get introduced to a new character. The Warden. And I think his name is Starnes. And you kind of see him just trying to get a head count of all all of the prisoners, making sure everybody's there.
Yeah.
And he's going to play a big part in this story here, at least in this first issue.
Yeah. And it seems like he's been here a couple months as well in the prison, locked up. And he's kind of like...
Who, Rafael?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rafael's been here for a couple months, and...
Yeah. And he, like I said earlier, he likes it. He says this is home. Like,
yes, you do get you get an inclination that he likes being in prison. And yeah, that makes sense for Rafael.
Yeah, he's always been that tough
guy,
wanting to beat everybody up.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
So we see it's kind of like the next day.
Yeah, we jump over to the next day, and we see
they're out in the courtyard.
You see Rafael's kind of watching some other prisoners play basketball, I think.
The warden comes up behind him.
Yes.
And he's telling him
that they have a deal.
Yeah.
So you kind of get an idea here of what's going on, how Rafael ended up in this prison, why he likes being there, and just everything that's going down.
It's not known yet either. They don't establish that just yet. Why?
No, yeah. You understand why
the warden has him there for a reason.
Yes,
and
exactly.
He says it's for him to find out who's being corrupt in the prison.
Yes, he says something about there being a lot of bloodshed, a lot of corruption within that prison itself, and he wants Raph to get to the bottom of it. Yeah. And if he can figure it out and the warden is satisfied,
have a deal together.
Yeah,
right?
then he can pull some strings and get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. So that's kind of the situation Raph's in. He's relying on this warden for his freedom, pretty much. If he does what the warden wants him to do, he'll get out of prison. We do get a moment here when Rafael, though, is talking to the warden where the warden kind of hints at how Rafael got there. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah, he says something that Rafael made a bunch of trouble for himself. And now, because of all that, the warden owns him pretty much. I don't know if you've looked into the Mutant Nation comics yet. So for those who don't know, the Mutant Nation is another comic title that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. And it takes place in the same universe. And what it looks like from some of the covers that have been revealed is that the story is going to be about Rafael and kind of how he got into prison. That's what I'm getting from the covers. You can see him in Las Vegas and he's fighting Metalhead.
Yeah.
And he's got his pepperoni pet with him.
Yeah.
And this is just going off of those covers. I think something happened in Las Vegas with Metalhead that ended up getting Rafael put in this prison. That's just my theory, just from a couple of those covers that we've seen. So yes, the warden says he owns him now. When Rafael is done with his job there for the warden of getting rid of all the corruption, then he will be able to be free.
Yep. And then in that same moment while they're out there on the courtyard, we see that 3 new prisoners arrive.
Yeah, it's a whole bus of them, but it focuses on the 3. Yep.
Yeah, because I guess they've been given trouble to the guards.
Yeah, the warden talks about how these guys have been nothing but trouble ever since they started getting transferred to this prison, and he tells Rafael, keep an eye on them.
Keep an eye on them. Let's see what they're about.
Yep.
And that is kind of where we go into next, because that night after the warden talks to him, Raph hears something. He sees that the guard that's right outside his jail cell is dead.
Yes.
Got murdered.
So Rafael, chilling in his cell at nighttime.
Yeah.
Later that night, after the courtyard scene, looks outside of his cell and sees that the guard is killed.
Yeah.
But what is surprising about this is that at the beginning of the book, Rafael has been kind of talking about how he's a ninja warrior and that all his senses are super heightened because of his training, and that's how he was able to hear the prisoners escaping earlier in the book, and that this guard getting killed without anybody noticing is kind of like, how did this happen?
How did it happen?
He should have heard something.
Yeah. He also notices that the wounds on the guard are not like your typical messy wounds that you would
like a shiv
see from prison with a shiv. Yeah. These are like precise
ninja
blades.
Yep.
Like whoever's doing this knows what they're doing.
Yep.
And is doing it perfectly quiet.
Yep, exactly. So Rafael, instinctually, I don't know what makes him run up to the roof, but he goes up to the rooftop. He leaves his cell. We see him climbing the side of the prison, and he's going up to the rooftop.
Yeah, to see what's going on. He's thinking somebody broke in. That's what he's thinking. Somebody broke in, they killed the guard.
Yeah.
Let me go see what I can find out.
And he's at the top of the rooftop, and this is where we get a look at 3 ninjas.
Yeah, this is where we find out that the 3 new prisoners that we saw earlier are the 3 ninja assassins.
Yeah, Rafael realizes this. As soon as he gets up there, he goes, wait, these are the new prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says that they've taken a vow of silence and they're not there to talk. Another brawl breaks out, but this time between Rafael and the ninjas. And this one, I would say, is more brutal than the first fight in the sewers, because Raph's getting hit with ninja stars. Yeah, and the only reason he doesn't get, like, seriously hurt is because
he has the books that were in his cell. He put them all inside to give him protection.
Yeah, he's got like books taped on his torso and taped on his arms, so it's protecting him from these like ninja stars and blades that are flying at him.
And all he has is the batons from the guard that was murdered.
Yeah, but he does start getting the upper hand on these ninjas. And so he starts kind of like talking smack to the ninjas, like, you know, like this is all you got or something like that. And then you realize that they weren't there for him. They were there just to distract him. That they were there to actually kill the warden. Yeah. Raph's one way out.
One way out. And we see that in the next page. Well, they're still fighting. Yeah. We see that they're fighting and he's getting attacked and all the ninja stars are literally getting stuck on his arm. Yeah. He thinks that they're part of the Foot Clan.
He
thinks that they're been sent by the Foot Clan. He's thinking that Karai sent them, but
he's like,
he would figure how would they like why are they murdering the guards and stuff?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Karai towards the end of the previous run of this same continuity, so when they were getting to issue 150 before this relaunch, Karai said she was gonna like reform the Foot Clan. Yeah. And make them, Raph says, less murdery.
Less murdery, yeah. So it's kind of, I thought that was kind of funny because he's over here literally almost getting murdered and he's like, they're less murdery. They should be less murdery.
But he knows they're the Foot Clan, so he's like, what's going on? This is the Foot Clan who's supposed to be less murdery, but they're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
And
they killed a guard.
They've killed already. Yeah. And so he's like, he doesn't understand what's going on, why this is happening. And then he realizes this is all a distraction.
And that leads us to the next page. He goes to the warden's office and he's dead. He has 2 sais stuck in his chest. And so you also see that they're not just there to distract him or whatever, but they're there to frame him. Like
they framed Raph.
Yeah,
now whoever comes to be the next warden or whoever, Raph's gonna get treated like
worse. And then the safe.
There's a safe in the
warden's office.
Yes.
That all the evidence that they had between Rafael and the warden, the reason why he was there, all that evidence is gone.
It's gone.
So they know. So somebody knows something's happening in the background that we don't know yet.
Yeah. So somebody pretty much just screwed Raph.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to get to it already.
Me too. I want to see, is it Karai?
Is it a different ninja group?
Is it, because we've read a little bit of Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan, which is also in the same universe that recently came out. They actually just finished it. There is other ninja clans out there beefing with Karai's Foot Clan and
trying to claim it, right?
Trying to claim it, pretty much. Trying to claim the Foot Clan as their own family stuff. So yeah, there is multiple ninja clans out there.
Yeah. I like how right here where he's in the warden's office and the last thing he says is, this is my least favorite day of prison, because he's been talking about how he likes prison, but today's the day where it's like the worst
Not so
day.
Good. Yeah, security goes in there, they grab Rafael, they restrain him. I think they take him back to his cell.
Pretty much, yeah.
But then in his cell, when Raph's back in his cell, he escapes.
Yeah. It's been, he says, been months since I've seen them. So
he's talking about his brothers. And that he needs to go warn them, because if they've already done this to Rafael, they're going to come after the other turtles.
Oh, you know what? It is right after the death of the warden, because he's all bloodied and now he has his size.
So right after they find the warden's body, the security grabs him. They put him in his cell, and he's like, I got to get the heck out of here.
And so he does. It looks like it's the same hole where he caught those guys trying to escape in the first couple pages.
It does look like that. I thought the same thing, yeah.
So he has an escape route, and
he's out.
He gets going, and the thing he says is, I gotta go get my brothers because somebody's after them. Something's happening.
And that goes back to the title of the Return to New York. He's gonna return to New York. We do have one final scene in this book and it is in New York.
Yeah, we're back in New York.
But it doesn't have to do with the Turtles. It has to do with like
the DA.
Someone that's running for, the DA and someone that's running for DA. So it's like these two guys.
The next DA. So like pretty much he's been elected or gonna be elected, and it's the new DA that's gonna.
So the new DA, he's winning the election to become the new DA. His name, I believe, is Carmichael.
Carmichael.
And then you have the previous DA whose name is Hale.
And you could totally tell he's corrupt.
Hale.
Yeah.
The current DA is corrupt. And the new DA is like, I got this. I'm going to win this. But he gets pulled over by some police officers.
Yeah.
The police officers, I believe they plant drugs in his car or something like that. Then you see the current DA, Hale, comes out of like the shadows, just kind of like comes out, and he starts telling Carmichael, the one that's running for DA that's going to win it, he starts telling him like, oh, it's like a shame that these drugs,
it's so tragic
that these drugs were found in your car, and that you had to kill yourself.
That you jump off the
because of the shame of like that you getting caught by the police was going to bring to your campaign.
Yeah,
and he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to kill him. And then they pretty much kill him.
Yeah,
they push him off of
the bridge. The bridge. Yeah.
So the current DA kills the DA that was running and was going to win. You see the current DA that now pretty much, even though he was losing the election, is going to win it.
Yeah.
Say to the deputies, you can go ahead and tell Karai that the city is ours now.
Yeah.
So this corrupt DA that just killed this other guy, he's working with Karai.
I also like how they made him look very mobsterish. I guess your typical look. He kind of looks like Al Capone.
Yes.
To me.
The Hale guy.
Yes.
Looks like Al Capone.
Yeah.
He must be working hand in hand with Karai, who is apparently now murdery again. If she's okay in this.
Yeah. So it kind of goes to what the warden was saying in the beginning of the issue, where something's happening and it must be connected. It has to be connected. So
this also connects a little bit back to, and this is kind of going back to the previous run of the 150 issues that had come before this. There was a moment when Karai was becoming good and she was going to reform the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
There was a small moment where Venus, one of the turtles, the light blue one, had a confrontation or a discussion with Karai, but said that she could feel that there was still a lot of darkness within Karai.
Ooh, yeah, I remember.
I don't know if you remember that from I think that happened during the Armageddon game.
Yes.
And at the time, they were like, well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But now we kind of...
We're seeing it happen.
Maybe there's a motive. There's a reason why.
Maybe
she has to be, because...
For the love of someone?
For the love of someone, or this is happening. Like,
yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see.
But
I can't wait. I think this is great. I like how they're starting off with this, like... This is how I wanted to see...
It's kind of going back to groundedness. Yeah. They were kind of doing a lot of, like... cosmic things. Like now they're kind of going back to
which
ninjas.
Is fine, but I like this. I like this part of them because you kind of see the grittiness. Like you obviously saw how he was beating up those guys breaking out.
Yeah, I like this stuff.
Beating up the ninjas and then murdering the guard, and then this dude getting pushed off of a bridge. I like how it's a little darker.
Yep.
I hope they continue that way.
The next book centers around Michelangelo.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know,
it says to be continued with Michelangelo.
Yeah. So issue 1 will be Rafael. Issue 2 will be Michelangelo. Issue 3 will be Leonardo, and then issue 4 will be Donatello. And then they'll all come together in issue 5, and then it'll keep going with the 4 of them together again.
Yeah.
I would imagine. But yeah, issue 2 comes out September 11th. So it looks like there's like a month wait in between. So it's almost like every other month is how they're releasing them, at least as of right now. I don't know if they're going to be doing them every month, how the previous run did eventually. And if this is just how they're doing it right now. Because yeah, issue 1 came out here in July, nothing in August. And then September, we're going to be getting issue 2. So we'll see if that trend continues.
And is there going to be other comics in between those?
Yes. They're going to be doing the Mutant Nation comic, how we discussed earlier in the podcast, and that one is in this universe.
Yeah.
But I think it takes place earlier, like how we were discussing how when Rafael was doing the things that got him locked up into prison.
That gap in between now from this issue to the ending of 150, right?
Exactly.
In between that. Okay. That'll be interesting to see what got him in there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And then there's also the Night Watcher, which is kind of based off of, or it is based off of the 2007 character, the Night Watcher, who it was the alter ego of Rafael in that movie. But in this, they haven't said who it is. It's my theory. I believe it's Jenica. I think that's my theory.
Who it is.
Because I think she's the only one that stayed behind in Mutant Town, and she was very adamant of about protecting the citizens there, and that's what the Night Watcher is doing. So
you're probably correct on that.
We'll see what happens. I think that's it as like the other comics that are taking place within this universe.
Okay.
So yeah.
And is it going to be different artists, or is it going to be the same?
So yeah, Mutant Nation is written by Tom Waltz, if I'm not mistaken, who was the writer on the first 150 issues, or a big bulk of those. And then I think Sophie Campbell, who was the other chunk of those first 150 issues, I think is working on it with Tom. So they're working on that Mutant Nation comic together. So like the old writers are working on the Mutant Nation comic now.
Okay. So what did you think of this first issue?
Overall,
like the ending, the whole thing.
I like it. I want to see where they're going.
Yeah.
I do like how you were saying how they're kind of back to like a grounded, you know. I'm just curious what they do with the villains. Like, who are the villains? Spoilers for the previous run, the first 150 issues, but by the end of it, Shredder's a good guy.
Yeah, he's in Dimension Z. Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to be, like, I like him as a villain, so I don't know how they'll ever do that again. Yeah. So I'm just curious to see what they do. I'm curious. This is setting a good tone.
Yeah, it is.
It's simple, back to basics. And
I do think, though, that, you might be right about the Karai thing. I think she's probably the new villain in this kind of story arc.
Maybe they do Lady Shredder. Maybe they do Lady Shredder.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, let's just see where it goes from there. But
that does it for this episode covering issue 1. We did it.
We did.
We've been talking about it for so long. But that does it for this video. Follow us on all the socials. She's got her own at Stacy Jones, TMNT, I believe. She posts a lot of behind the scenes pictures of what we do here when we're setting up for the podcast, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely go follow her on all those.
Yeah.
And then us on the old Turtle Den, follow us there. And then that's it for this video, everybody.
I can't wait to make more.
Yeah.
Bye.